Amina sat quietly in the back of the old car, her hands shaking in her lap. She was only 19. Outside the window, her town passed by like a fading dream. Shops, streets, and the small school she once loved became smaller and smaller behind her. She felt like her life was being pushed forward without her permission. She did not choose this marriage. No one asked her what she wanted. Everyone only said, "You should be grateful. He is rich, he is famous, he is a good match." But Amina did not want a match. She wanted freedom. The man she was going to marry was named Mr. Hale, the richest farmer anyone had ever heard of. A man whispered in the village market, "He owns 50 fields. His crops grow even when the weather fails. He is a genius, not just a farmer." Another person said, "No one knows how his machines work. Maybe he made a deal with something not human." People laughed, but their eyes showed fear. Amina had seen him only once before. He stood far away during a festival, wearing a black coat, his eyes hidden behind dark glasses even though it was night. When she looked at him, she felt something strange. Not attraction, not fear. Something like a puzzle waiting for her. Now she was being taken to his mansion-like farmhouse. The driver did not speak. Amina tried to control her breathing. She told herself, "If I cry now, it means I lost before the story even begins." The car finally stopped in front of a gate, taller than any gate she had ever seen. Security drones hovered above the road, tiny blinking lights like staring eyes. The gate opened on its own, reacting to the car. No guards. No humans, only machines. The farmhouse was not normal. It was huge, built like a mix of old brick and futuristic metal. Pipes ran across the walls like veins. Lights moved under the glass windows like energy flowing through a living creature. Inside, guests were waiting. Not many, only a dozen people. They stood like statues, staring but not speaking. Amina could feel their judgment pressing on her shoulders. Her parents stood near the door. They looked nervous, not proud. They avoided her eyes. Even they were unsure now. Amina wanted to shout, "Why are you doing this to me?" But she held her voice like a knife, sharp but hidden. Mr. Hawley appeared at the top of the staircase. He walked down slowly, each step echoing like the beat of a drum. He looked younger than people said. Maybe mid-30s. His face was calm, almost too calm. Like someone who already knew what would happen before it happened. He stopped in front of her and bowed slightly. "Amina," he said. His voice was low and steady, like the ground before an earthquake. "I know this is not your wish, but I promise your life will not end here." His words surprised her. For a moment, she felt her heart skip. Did he know? Did he understand? But she did not trust him. Not yet. The wedding was short. No music, no dancing. Just words and signatures. When it ended, the guests left silently, as if they were afraid something might follow them home. Mr. Hale guided her to a private room. There was only one thing inside, a small metallic box on a table. It was silver, smooth, and covered in strange symbols, like letters from a forgotten language. It hummed quietly, as if there was something alive inside it. "This is your wedding gift," Mr. Hale said. Amina stared. "I don't want gifts. I want answers." "You will get both," he replied. In time, she touched the box. It was warm. It felt like it recognized her. Then Mr. Hale said something that would stay with her forever. "I do not want to trap you, but I cannot let you go yet. There are people who want what only you can unlock." Amina stepped back. "Why?" "Me?" He looked at her with eyes full of secrets. "Because you are not ordinary, and soon you will see it too." Outside, thunder rolled, but the sky was clear. There were no clouds. Amina felt a shiver. This marriage was not the end of her story. It was the start of something bigger. Something dangerous. Something that might change everything, not just for her, but for the world. Asterisk the next morning, Amina woke before the sun. She had barely slept. The mansion was too quiet, like it was holding its breath. The air felt heavy, filled with unspoken words and invisible eyes. She sat up in the unfamiliar bed and stared at the metallic box on the bedside table. It still hummed softly, like it was dreaming. A soft knock came at the door. A house assistant, not a person, but a small rolling robot with one glowing eye entered. It projected a line of text into the air. "Breakfast is ready. Follow." Amina hesitated. The robot waited. "This is my life now," she thought. Machines guiding her. A stranger as her husband. A mystery around every corner. She followed it down the hallway. The lights along the walls brightened as she passed, as if greeting her. The mansion was even stranger in daylight. Screens replaced paintings. Pipes replaced decorations. Instead of chandeliers, floating spheres of light drifted near the ceiling. Like glowing jellyfish in the dining area, Mr. Holly was already seated, eating quietly. He looked up and nodded. "You slept," he said. Not a question, a statement. "I tried," she replied. He gestured for her to sit. "You may explore the farm today," he said. "But do not go underground, not yet." The warning made her curious immediately. "Why?" she asked. "Because the ground listens," he said simply. She didn't know if he was joking. After breakfast, Amina stepped outside. The air smelled like rain, even though the sky was perfectly clear. The field stretched out to the horizon, greener and brighter than any field she had seen before. The leaves were thicker, the fruit larger, the wheat heads heavy with grain that shimmered slightly, like gold dust clung to them. As she walked further, she saw drones hovering above the crops, scanning rows like bees collecting pollen. Some had arms that trimmed leaves with precise movements. Others sprayed a soft mist that smelled like mint and electricity. A humming sound came from overhead. A machine shaped like a metal hawk soared across the sky. Its wings folded and unfolded, with the sound of gears whispering. Amina felt like she had stepped into the future. At the center of the fields stood a large structure that looked like a barn, but its walls were made of glass and steel. It pulsated faintly, like a heartbeat. She went inside. There were plants growing without soil, suspended in pods filled with blue liquid. Their roots glowed. Screens displayed data like temperature normal, oxygen exchange optimal, human interference 0%. A voice echoed from hidden speakers. "Welcome, Amina. Access level pending." "How do you know my name?" she whispered. No answer. She turned to leave, but froze. Through the glass walls, she could see the fields again, but now she noticed something she missed before. Some plants were moving. Not in the wind, they were bending, turning, slowly facing her direction. Like they sensed her. She stepped back, heart pounding. "No," she said to herself. "That's impossible." But the plants followed her movement like curious animals. Behind her, someone cleared their throat. She jumped. It was Mr. Holly. "You see it now," he said. What are they?" she asked. "Alive," he answered. "More than plants, less than animals. They respond to frequency, emotion, memory." He looked at her with a seriousness that felt heavy. "They respond to you." "Why me?" she asked again. He looked out across the fields. "Years ago," he said, "I found something. A crater, a fragment of technology not made by human hands. It taught me how to grow food that could resist disease, heat, time. It showed me systems that speak through biology, not wires. I built this farm around that discovery." Amina struggled to process his words. Alien technology? Living crops? A farm that watched her? "What does this have to do with me?" she whispered. He stepped closer, but not too close. Respectful distance. "The box will tell you," he said. "When you are ready. It is not a gift. It is a key." Her skin tingled. "A key to what?" To yourself, he said. To what you can become. The wind shifted. The fields rippled like a wave. The plants shimmered blue for a second, reacting to something, her thoughts, her presence. Amina took a step back. She wasn't just afraid. She was drawn in, like her destiny had roots tangled in this soil. Hale turned to leave, but paused. You are not trapped here, he said quietly. You are important here. That is different. Then he walked away, the drones moving aside for him like soldiers. Amina looked at the fields again. The plants trembled, as if waiting. She realized something. This farm was not just strange, it was alive. And she might be the only person who could speak to it. That night, Amina sat on the edge of her new room's bed, the metallic box in front of her. It waited, silent now. No humming. No glowing symbols. Just cold metal and impossible questions. She touched the lid with her fingertips. It felt heavier. Today, like it carried the weight of every secret in this farm. Her voice shook. What are you hiding? The room seemed to listen. Outside her window, the fields shimmered faintly. The glowing crops pulsed like stars breathing. Machines drifted above the soil like restless spirits. Amina could hear the soft whir of drones patrolling the night sky. This place was a cage, a mystery, and a promise all at once. A knock sounded. Amina flinched. Mr. Hall entered slowly, keeping distance. He always kept distance, like a man afraid of causing harm just by standing too close. The box, he said, looking at it. It is waiting for your decision. I didn't make any decision, she replied. You made one the moment you touched the fields, he said. They reacted. To you, the box knew. Amina felt her heart beat faster. You talk like everything here is alive. Not alive, he said. Awakened. She didn't understand, and she hated not understanding. Mr. Hale stepped back toward the door. I will not force you to open it. You can leave this place. If you choose. And my family? She asked sharply. They will be safe. No one will touch them. The words were calm, but the message felt like steel. Whoever wanted the farm, the tech, they were dangerous. Hale was protecting her, but also protecting himself through her. Before leaving, he turned and added, do not fear the box, fear the people who want it. Then he closed the door, and Amina was alone again. She looked at the box. Her hands trembled. It was just metal. How could metal feel like destiny? She closed her eyes, took a breath, and placed both palms on it. It reacted instantly. Light burst from the seams, symbols glowing like fireflies. The box lifted into the air, floating. The room darkened, shadows curling around the walls. Amina gasped, stumbling back. The box followed her, drifting closer. No, stop. The symbols rearranged themselves into letters she could read now. Identity confirmed. Amina. Access granted. The lid opened with a soft side. Inside was a bracelet, silver, smooth, with a single blue gem, not jewelry. It looked like technology, like something from the future. Amina reached out. The bracelet leaped into her hand like it was eager. It clamped around her wrist. She screamed, not from pain, but from the shock of connection. It felt like ice and fire and electricity all at once. Images exploded behind her eyes. A crater. A shard of metal with alien symbols. Machines learning to speak. Crops growing in deserts. Children not starving. A world healed by a technology no one understood. And then a memory that was not hers. A laboratory, 2 scientists. A screen with her family name. A voice saying, only bloodline carriers can activate the interface. Amina fell to her knees. Tears blurred her vision. What am I? She whispered. The bracelet answered. A voice gentle, not human, spoke from it. You are the bridge. Amina forced herself up. The bracelet glowed like a heartbeat. She wiped her eyes. She felt stronger now, not because someone gave her strength, but because she chose to face the truth. She walked into the hallway. The mansion's lights turned on before she even touched the switches. The floor warmed under her feet. The entire house felt. Connected to her dot, she found Mr. Holly in his office, surrounded by screens. They flickered with maps, data streams, crop growth charts, and warnings like, threat detected, corporate raid location unknown target, farm plus primary access HOL. Dear hell turned. He saw the bracelet. It chose you, he said quietly. Amina nodded. Her voice was steady now. You knew I could do this. I hoped, he corrected. But hope is not certainty. Amina took a step closer, still keeping her own safe space. You said I'm important here. I don't want importance. I want truth. Hale's expression finally cracked, not cold, not dramatic, just human. My wife died because she wore the bracelet before she was ready, he said softly. Amina felt her breath freeze. I married you to protect you, he continued. Not because I wanted to own you. Because you needed this place. Before this place needed you. The silence after his confession felt like a storm. Amina looked at her wrist. The bracelet felt warm now, like a pulse. She was no longer just a girl forced into a marriage. She was part of something larger. Something that could heal or destroy. The world. Teach me, she said. Not a request. A command. Holly nodded. As you wish, but remember, knowledge has enemies. Amina looked out the window. In the fields, the crops glowed like constellations. Machines paused their patrol and turned toward the house, as if saluting her. She whispered to herself, this is not the life I wanted. But maybe, it's the life I was born for. And the farm answered with light. Morning light entered the room like thin silver lines. Amina opened her eyes slowly. For the first time since arriving at the farm, she didn't feel like she was only surviving. She felt present, awake. The bracelet on her wrist glowed faintly, like a tiny galaxy wrapped around her arm. She dressed and stepped into the hallway. The mansion reacted to her movement. Lights rose, doors unlocked, the air felt warmer. She didn't know if she liked it or feared it. Maybe both, she thought. Downstairs, she found Holly waiting. He was reading from a digital book, pages made of floating holograms. He looked up. Today, he said, you will learn what the farm really is. Amina swallowed. No more secrets, she said. No more secrets, he agreed. His voice was calm, but she could feel tension underneath. He led her through a corridor she hadn't seen before. It ended at a thick metal door marked Access. Level O root system, unauthorized entry equals photo. Mina's heart pounded. Holly motioned for her bracelet. Place your hand here. She hesitated. If she did this, she crossed a line she couldn't return from. Finally, she lifted her hand and pressed her palm to the door. The bracelet glowed. Symbols shot across the metal surface like lightning. The door split open with a hiss. A cold breeze rushed out, carrying the scent of soil and electricity. They walked down a long staircase. The deeper they went, the stranger the air felt. It buzzed, like sound you could feel in your bones. They reached an underground chamber. Amina gasped. It wasn't a lab. It was a network. Columns of glowing vines rose from the ground like roots of a mechanical tree. They pulsed with blue light, feeding energy into machines shaped like massive hearts. Screens hung in the air, showing maps, formulas, DNA strands. A screen lit up with her picture. Name, Amina Fahim. Age, 19. Compatibility level, 98.7%. Status, Key INDI video. While Amina's knees almost buckled. Holly, why is my face here? Why was I in your files before I came? Holly breathed in like the truth hurt. Because your family has history here, he said. You are not the first in your bloodline to touch this technology. Amina's mind spun. My parents? They never told. They couldn't, Holly said. Your mother wanted to forget. Your father tried to burn every record. They thought hiding the past would protect you. Amina felt a sting in her chest. They lied to me. They were afraid, Hale answered. People died for this. Knowledge. Amina looked at the vines. They moved. Like living nerves. What is this place? She whispered. Hale stepped closer to the central core. This is the root system. It is not from Earth. I found the first piece in a crater 10 years ago. It had already bonded with the soil, changing it, creating fields that could heal themselves, feed themselves. He touched one of the vines. These roots learn, they remember. They grow according to human intention, not weather. Amina stared. So you made a super farm? Hale shook his head. No, the farm made itself. I only learned to listen. A siren suddenly beeped. A screen flashed red. Intrusion alert, perimeter breach. Amina's pulse spiked. Someone is here. Hale nodded, jaw tight. They've been searching for this place for years. Corporations, private militaries. Anyone who thinks alien technology can be sold like a product. He looked directly at her. You must decide now. You can leave. I will distract them. You have that right. She stared at him. He wasn't threatening. He wasn't begging. He was offering choice. Something she hadn't been given in a long time. The ground vibrated. Above, machinery activated. Drones swarmed like metal birds preparing for war. Amina looked at her bracelet. The gem brightened, ready, waiting. If she ran, she would always be running. If she stayed, she could change the world. Amina stepped forward. I won't run. Hale's eyes showed something like relief. You understand the risk? I understand the purpose, she answered. I'm done being a passenger in my own life. The root system reacted to her words. The vines brightened, lighting the chamber with blue fire. The bracelet sensed, symbols racing across her arm like a language she could almost read. A voice came from the core, mechanical, soft, ancient. Interface acknowledged. Guardian selected. Amina felt a surge of energy, like the farm itself breathed through her. Hale looked at her with stunned respect. You, he whispered, are becoming what I could never be. Above them, the breach alarm grew louder. Danger was coming. Amina stared up with steady eyes. They want the technology, she said. Let them try. The root system pulsed. Like a giant heart behind her, alive and armed. For the first time, Amina didn't feel trapped. She felt powerful, and the world was about to learn why. The alarms echoed through the underground chamber like metal thunder. Red emergency lights flashed across Amina's face as she stood near the glowing root network. Her heartbeat matched the alarm's rhythm, fast and loud, but she didn't feel like running. She felt ready. Above ground, faint explosions shook dust from the ceiling. Hale checked a security panel. His hands were steady, but his jaw was tight with fear. They breached the gate, he said. More than I expected. They brought weaponized drones and signal jammers. They want the core. They want you. Amina stared at him, confused and angry. Why me? Why is everything connected to me? Hale didn't look away. He owed her the truth now. When I found the alien fragment, it was a dead machine, he said. I studied it for years. Then one day, it started responding to DNA samples. Most caused violent reactions, systems collapsed, fields died. Machines exploded. He paused. But when I tested your mother's DNA from old hospital records, the machine woke up. Amina froze. My mother? It opened like a flower. In sunlight, Hale said, the symbols changed. The roots spread, and your name appeared on the interface, Amina Fahim. Not a suggestion, not a request. A command. It felt unreal, like her life had been chosen before she was born. So you planned everything, Amina said quietly. Hale shook his head. I planned to protect the technology. I never planned your marriage. I was forced. Amina blinked. Forced? How? There are governments, corporations, black market science labs. They wanted a test subject, a human key. If they found you first, you would have been taken. Not married, taken, experimented. He looked away, ashamed. I married you to create a barrier, a legal shield. A location they couldn't reach easily. I chose the lesser prison for you. I am. Sorry, the apology wasn't dramatic. It wasn't emotional. It was real. Amina didn't forgive him. She wasn't ready. But she understood. Before she could speak, a huge blast shook the chamber. Dust rained from the ceiling. Screens flickered. Halle checked the interface. There. Almost in. We don't have time. He turned to her with a new expression, not authority, not control, trust. You have more command of the system than I do now. If you tell the roots to defend, they will listen. If you activate the drones, they will follow. Amina looked at her glowing bracelet. I don't know how. You do, Halle said. It's inside you. Not learned, inherited. Amina stepped toward the core. The vines lifted slightly, sensing her. She placed her hand on the glowing surface. Instantly, light shot up her arm like lightning. Her vision blurred. Shapes and codes swirled in her mind. She saw the attackers in infrared red dots moving across the fields. She saw drones approaching armed, ready. She saw the network paths of the farm routes like blood vessels connecting everything. The system spoke to her. Directive? Amina breathed in. Her voice felt larger than her body. Protect the land, she said. Do not kill. The vines pulsed. Directive accepted. Above ground, drones launched like a metallic flock, surrounding the fields. The glowing crops grew. Taller, forming walls of light and root shields. Not weapons. Attackers screamed as their drones malfunctioned, crashing. Their guns jammed. Their vehicles shut down. Engines dying like snuffed candles. The farm was alive and it obeyed her. The chamber doors suddenly burst open. An enemy soldier stumbled in, weapon raised. His mask was black, visor glowing red. He aimed at Halle. Amina didn't think she moved. The bracelet flared, and a wall of vines erupted from the floor, wrapping the soldier like rope. His weapon dropped. He couldn't move, but he could breathe. Amina stared at her own hands, shocked. Halle whispered, Humanity wins. Because of people like you. Amina turned. No, she said firmly. Humanity wins because we choose better. Because we don't become monsters when monsters try to make us. Halle nodded, accepting her correction. Outside, the attackers retreated. Their machines failed. Communication signals died. The farm was impossible to conquer. The alarms faded. The chamber quieted. The vines lowered gently, releasing the captured soldier who ran in terror. Amina walked to Halle. Her voice was steady. When this is over, my life will be mine. I will choose where I go. I will choose who I become. You will, Halle said. You already are. Amina looked at the glowing roots. This wasn't a farm. This wasn't a prison. It was a warship of soil and life, and she was its captain. She whispered to the system, I'm ready for the next step. The core pulsed. Interface expansion unlocked, initiating revelation. And somewhere deep below, something ancient woke up. Asterisk silence fell across the underground chamber. But it wasn't peaceful. It was the kind of silence that came before a storm opened its eyes. Amina felt the floor vibrating beneath her feet, as if the earth itself had a heartbeat. The core's light dimmed, then brightened, like it was breathing with her. Her bracelet flickered. She looked down. The metal of the bracelet shifted, unfolding, rearranging. Tiny gears revealed themselves, forming shapes like petals. Amina watched as a second layer of symbols appeared on its surface, symbols she had never seen before. They glowed a deeper blue, almost black, like the color of a night sky with no stars. Hale froze. "That shouldn't happen," he whispered. Amina didn't. "Step back this time." "Maybe it should." The bracelet lifted from her wrist and hovered in the air, spinning slowly, projecting streams of holographic text around her. The text twisted into diagrams, star charts, maps of the Earth, and DNA structures like family trees made of light. Hale squinted at one symbol. "That's not technology. That's instruction. Teaching code." Amina reached out. The bracelet settled back onto her arm like it belonged there. Then the metallic box, the one that had given her the bracelet, began to shake. It rose off the table again, but this time it didn't glow. It cracked. Amina stepped forward. Hale moved as if to stop her, but she raised a hand and he paused. The box unfolded like a mechanical flower, each layer peeling back in slow, careful motion. Inside was a second object, a disc no bigger than her palm, made of a material that looked like stone and metal at the same time. It pulsed softly, like a slow heartbeat. Amina lifted it, expecting heat or pain, but it felt cool and smooth. Light spread from the disc like ink and water. A voice spoke. Not from the bracelet, not from the room, from everywhere. Primary interface online. User Amina Fahim, you are acknowledged. Awaiting directive, liberation or containment. Amina's breath caught, liberation or containment. Two directions. Two destinies. What does liberation mean? She asked. Hale answered before the system could. It means releasing the technology, letting it grow beyond the farm, spreading it, sharing it, and containment, locking it, keeping it here forever, controlling it, protecting it. Amina stared at the disc. She saw images flash, cities where children didn't starve, countries where deserts bloomed with food, storms that healed instead of destroyed. Then darker images, wars, greed, nations fighting over alien roots like gold. She closed her eyes. "This isn't a gift," she murmured. "This is a responsibility." The chamber's vines pulsed brighter. The farm's heartbeat waited. Amina lifted her chin. "I choose neither." The system paused. "Clarify." Amina spoke slowly, the words forming from instinct and conviction. "I won't release something I don't understand. I won't bury something that can save lives. I won't let governments or corporations own this. And I won't let this farm keep me prisoner." Her voice grew stronger. "I choose learning. I choose growth. I choose time. One choose myself." The disc brightened, almost blinding. It projected a new symbol, an open circle, new directive. Accepted. Status, guardian in training. Hale stared at her like he was seeing her for the first time. "You just rewrote the system," he said. Amina nodded. "Then I can rewrite my life too." They returned to the surface. The farm felt different. The roots responded to her footsteps like ripples on water. Drones landed respectfully around her, like animals waiting for a leader's signal. A truck sat at the edge of the field, abandoned by the attackers who fled in fear. Its engine hissed like it knew it was defeated. Amina walked past it without a glance. Hale followed, but didn't lead. For the first time, he walked behind her. "Amina," he said, voice steady. "You can stay, you can leave. But whatever you choose next, I won't stop you. The marriage doesn't bind you. The law is undone. I'll sign whatever is needed." Amina turned. The wind moved her hair across her face like a flag of change. "I don't know yet if I'll stay," she said. "I don't know yet if I trust you fully." Hale nodded. "You don't need to decide today." Amina looked at the glowing fields. "I just know this. I'm not here because I was forced anymore. I'm here because I'm needed. And needing is not owning." She took a step forward. The crops bent gently in her direction. She took another. The horizon widened. For the first time, Amina felt like the world was opening, not closing, she whispered to the farm, not knowing if it could hear. "I will choose my own beginning." And the soil glowed back. Amina no longer woke up feeling like a stranger in her own story. She spent her days walking across the fields, talking to the drones like they were coworkers, learning how the root network responded to her voice, her touch, her intentions. Bracelet no longer surprised her when it glowed. It was part of her now, not as a chain, but as a tool. Not a symbol of control, but of choice. Every morning, Amina chose to stay. Not because she belonged to this place. Because she was building something here. One afternoon, Hale called her to the underground chamber. His voice held tension. Not fear, urgency. Amina arrived to find the screens lit with maps of the world. Red dots blinked across continents. Hale gestured to the largest cluster. "These are locations where the alien soil has already started to appear." Amina stared. "But I thought the fragment was only here." "So did I," Hale said. "I was wrong. Whatever fell from the sky. It wasn't one object, it was many. This farm is only one node in a global network." Amina stepped closer. Red dots blinked across deserts, in frozen mountains, beside oceans, in city ruins, each location like seeds waiting to grow. Her pulse quickened. This isn't just about us anymore. The system recognized her voice. Text flooded the screen. Worldwide activation pending. Compatible users unknown. Probability of global stability, 18%. 18%. That number pressed fear into her spine. If the technology spread uncontrolled, chaos would come. Power-hungry nations would weaponize it. Greedy corporations would try to sell it, and innocent people would pay the price. Amina looked at the maps again. Her voice was steadier than she felt. "What happens if we do nothing?" Hale lowered his eyes. "Then the world breaks before it heals." Amina didn't speak for a long moment. She let the silence hold her decision. Finally she said, "Then we don't wait. We move first." Hale's eyes widened, not in fear, but in realization. "You want to go to the other sites?" "Yes," Amina said. "I want to find others like me. People who can connect. People who can choose with knowledge, not force." Hale hesitated. "You might not find anyone." Amina shook her head gently. "Everyone is. Alone until they decide not to be." The farm's roots glowed under her feet. A drone entered the chamber carrying a metal case. It opened to reveal clothing, gear, and a small handheld scanner shaped like a compass made of stars. The arrow spun wildly, then stopped pointing north. The bracelet reacted. It projected a path in the air, a line of light leading out of the chamber, up to the surface, across the fields, beyond the horizon. Amina stepped toward it. The path followed her movement, adjusting like it knew her pace. She looked at Hale. "I am not asking for permission," she said. "And I am not asking for orders." "You are asking for partnership," Hale said softly. She nodded. "Partnership and honesty. No more secrets." Hale took a step back, showing understanding. "You will have them," he said. "Not because of who you are to me, but because of who you are to the world." Amina didn't smile. She didn't cry, she stood tall. "Good," she said. "Then let's begin." They returned to the surface. Sunlight washed across the glowing fields. Drones hovered overhead like a fleet. The plants swayed, whispering in frequencies she could almost understand now. A truck waited, modified, solar-powered, armored with plant fiber metal that grew instead of rusting. Amina approached it. The door opened automatically. The seat adjusted. To her height. She turned back one last time. "This place is not my prison," she said. "It is my launch point." Hale bowed his head, not like a servant, not like an owner. Like someone who finally learned to stand with another person, not above them. Amina placed a hand on the truck. The bracelet pulsed. Roots grew around the wheels, connecting. The soil energized the engine. The vehicle hummed with life. She whispered, HFY. Humanity. For once, not surviving. Choosing. The truck rolled forward, leaving the farmhouse behind. Fields parted. Drones escorted her like guardians of air. The horizon opened like a door. Amina drove toward the line of light, toward the unknown. Toward the world she intended to change, not from fear, not from power, but from purpose. She was no longer the girl forced into a marriage. She was the woman who chose her mission. And the world would remember her name not as a victim, but as the beginning of something human and new.